Carlos Condit getting back in action, one of the most exciting fighters in the UFC, no doubt about it. But if you were going to pick a style to beat it, what would you pick? Well, you'd probably pick Demian Maia. He's got that incredible jiu-jitsu skills, and he's really gone back to it in recent times, sticking with his strengths instead of trying to prove that he's a well-rounded fighter. So because of that, I'm going to pick the upset here. I think Demian Maia is going to be able to slow things down, maybe edge this out via decision, maybe get a submission as well. It does scare me a little bit that this went from 3 rounds to 5. I think the extra 2 rounds definitely weighs in Carlos Condit's favor, but I was leaning Demian Maia before. I'm going to stick with it now. Give me for the upset.
Maia's way here is the same thing he did with Brown, but with Condit, it's going to be a lot harder because he's a lot more mobile than Brown was. He's much more unpredictable, so he might struggle a little bit with that. But having said that, I just think Maia is very strategic. He's been fighting very intelligently. He's not going to fall into some weird striking game that he's not really equipped to deal with. So I have Maia winning the first 3 rounds, Condit winning the last 2, and Maia taking this one via a very, very close decision call.
Demian Maia, of course, is going to try to take him down, but before he does that, he has to come in close. And I think that the close range, Carlos Condit is very dangerous with his elbows and his clinch game. So I think that Condit might finish this fight in the second round.
Well, this fight I think is going to come down to the takedowns and the ground control, as most Demian Maia fights. Maia is 17-2 in the UFC when he gets at least 1 takedown, and Carlos Condit, on the other hand, has given up 23 takedowns in his UFC career. We've seen him in fights like Johnny Hendricks. Certain opponents, they can keep him grounded and control him in that area. It's a huge issue for Condit, and I don't know if he's going to be able to resolve that for this fight. I think the 5 rounds is definitely to his advantage if you're Carlos Condit. We've seen he's one of the best 5-round fighters in really MMA history, in my opinion. But I think Demian Maia's ground control is going to be too much. He's going to score key takedowns and win 3 rounds over the course of that 5-round bout and take a pretty close decision, but ultimately it goes Demian Maia's way.
Demian Maia wants to get this fight to the ground. Whether he's going to be able to do that or not, it's a different story. You know, his stand-up hasn't evolved an awful lot in that time. He tends to flash the jab a little bit to set up those takedowns, but I don't think it's going to work as effectively as it has against other guys, such as Gunnar Nelson. You know, he's 5-0 in his last 5 fights, so it's going to be really interesting to see, but I do expect the stand-up of Carlos Condit to be too much for Demian Maia. I'm going to look for a late finish here, possibly 4th or 5th round on Saturday night.